Again. Hello and welcome to another Thursday where things are slowly getting better. And the thing we're going to talk about tonight is what is Google One VPN? So if you are using Google One, which we will talk about more in a little bit if you're not familiar with what Google One is. So Google One at certain tiers, or if you are a user of a Pixel device, 7 or higher, because the new ones are coming, you have access to the Google One VPN. Now, this, of course, raises the questions of things like, whoop, not that one. That question. What is Google One VPN? Is it any good? Should I use it? How do you use it? So that's what we're going to talk about here, because there are definitely some reasons to consider it. But there may also be reasons why it may not meet your needs. So first of all, because we like everybody to be on the same page around here, let's talk about what a VPN is. So, you know, especially in technology, we love our little buzzwords, right? So VPN really means virtual private network. So the idea is that instead of just joining the internet, you know, logging on. And this is specifically when you're on like public access kind of thing, right? So if you're on public Wi-Fi, if you're in the coffee shop or the library or whatever, or, you know, if you've just happen to be in maybe an airport, you know, that's got a Ethernet jack and you're able to plug into that because you're paying for service or whatever. The idea is that, you know, if you're out in the public, maybe it's not always such a great idea to just jump on to the open internet highways and start throwing your information around. So if you're looking for a little bit of added protection, understanding, of course, that there is no such thing as 100% protection, right? We're honest around here. Then a VPN is something that you're going to want to consider. And what it does is, instead of just connecting directly to whatever server the router that you're connecting to has access to, it's going to go to a particular server, and then you're going to access the internet through that server. And that's going to give you a couple of benefits. But the main one is just a little bit extra protection from people being able to watch what you're doing. And so things like, you know, it'll technically hide your IP address, right? So it won't say where you're connecting from. So because instead of, if anybody is peeking to see where you're going, and they're not really looking for you, right? They're just snarfing up data and, you know, looking for things that they can use. But instead of seeing your device's information, they're going to see the information for the server that you're actually going through to get to the internet. So there's a nice little bit of safety there, right? There's a little distance between you, your information, and the people who might be wanting to take a look at it. So, and that's one of the big uses for this, is that very often people, if they're not going for the security thing, it's the being able to hide your IP address or look like you're coming from a different IP address, part of a VPN that is attractive, right? Is a reason why people are willing to pay for them. Now, like, as I said, Google One VPN is a free benefit if you meet that criteria that we talked about earlier. But there are also paid services out there. So we're just talking about VPNs in general right now. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning this, which we will come back to. All right. I have skipped ahead as I usually do here. So, okay. So what a VPN doesn't do, and this is, to me, this is just as important as what it does. A VPN is not going to protect you from malware, viruses, anything like that, right? It is not that level of protection. It really is just a way to mask your data, to keep your data out of the stream. But if you are clicking on bad links, you know, visiting sites that have malware on them that, you know, either is intentional or has been deposited there by, you know, other people, that's not going to protect you. So that's where things like malware protectors or antivirus, that type of thing kicks in. So a VPN is not a replacement for that any more than a virus protector or malware protection is going to protect you like a VPN would, right? These are different things. And the idea here is you would be layering up your protection, right? So with security of any type, it's the low-hanging fruit usually that's going to get picked. And the harder it is to get to you, the less they're going to be interested because there's easier prey out there. So that is the general idea. The other thing that I just wanted to say and make very clear to people is no, you can't access sites from your work computer and hope that your work won't see that you're using their equipment for purposes that they do not approve of. Okay, so please don't do that. Basically, the rule of thumb is don't do anything on your work computer or work devices that is not 100% work related. Anything else, you got to go to another device on. It'll make your life so much easier. It will actually keep you safer in a lot of different ways. So do not do anything on a work device, computer, or connection. Just don't. That's for work, and that's it. Beginning, middle, and end. Alrighty. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kathleen. I'm your tech coach. Basically, the story is my day gig is technology. It's also my hobby. So I'm sort of the touch point for the people in my world when they have got a question, if they're looking for advice or whatever. I know not everybody has somebody, so hello, I'm here. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you are always welcome to come and hang out in the chat and ask questions or just chat. Or if you need more help or you're catching this when I'm not live, you can always jump into the comments. I do go back and answer questions in those, or you can go to yourtechcoach.com. I do consults. You can submit ideas for the show, all that kind of stuff. Alrighty, so now that we've got that out of the way, so let's talk a little bit more about why you would possibly want to use the Google One VPN or any VPN really. And that, like what I started off with, is it's really about the protection when you're on a public internet connection. So that's, Wi-Fi, but it also could be a wired connection. So anytime you're not home on your own connection, it's probably a good thing to kind of stop and think about. The other thing is, if you want to hide your IP address, so there's a string of numbers that identifies you, your devices, and where you're coming from when you connect to the internet. If you want to hide that from your ISP or other people, that's a thing. The flip side of that coin is you can also, with a lot of VPNs, notice I'm saying a lot, but with a lot of VPNs, you can pick the server location that you're going through, which VPN server location you're going through. So just as an example, not that I'm suggesting anybody do this, but if there's content that you want to see that is region bound, so let's say, you're in a location that can't get, the latest episodes of Doctor Who. It's not so much a thing anymore, but once upon a time it was. So then you could go ahead and use a VPN that says, hey, I'm coming from London. So go ahead and let me see that Doctor Who episode. As opposed to, if you were doing it from wherever you are and it's like, oh no, I'm sorry, this is regional content only. So that's the other way that people use that kind of a thing. I've heard, rumors that some people are trying to get around certain streaming companies trying to stop password sharing by using VPNs. I'm not sure if it works. I don't use that particular service, so it holds no interest to me. But the point being that that's a door that swings both ways. It can protect your actual IP information, but you can also make believe that you're coming from someplace else if you need to do that. There are uses for that are not nefarious or borderline shady. So one scenario where I do use this kind of service is if I'm working for a client that is overseas or has overseas clients, we will use VPNs in order to test and make sure that they're able to access the website or the service or the tool from their location without any problem. So there's a lot of reasons why you might want to do that. The other thing is because you are protecting your information and you're really just revealing the information of the server that you're going through, it cuts way down on all those little data trackers that are out there. You know how you go and you're searching for a car, maybe you think about getting a new car, and suddenly all you're getting are ads online about that car. That's because somebody was watching where you were going and are like, oh, they're interested in this car, hit them with the ads. So when you go through a VPN, when you're doing that kind of research, they don't know that you're looking for it. They know that server you're going through is looking for it, but that's not a person, and a lot of other people are going through there too. So it does cut down a lot on those kinds of things. Hang on, I gotta see what he's doing. Hey. Thank you. Good boy. I knew he was up to no good. So those are the general reasons why you would want to do this. So let me just now stop a little bit, and we're just going to talk about, Google One. So obviously Pixel devices, those are devices that are manufactured by, well, not manufactured, they're sold by Google. They're Google phones. They have the latest version of Android on them. They're sort of the flagship for Google as far as the Android devices go. So if you are using a recent Pixel device, then you do have access to Google One by virtue of using the device, which means you also have access, because it is a Pixel device, you have access to the Google One VPN. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. So Google One is really about getting additional storage. That is what you're paying for when you pay for Google One. And that is something that anybody can do. You don't have to have a Pixel device in order to do this. So if you're looking for online storage, or if you're already in the Google world and you need more storage, you can go, and the link, of course, is in the description. But you can get, extra stuff. Am I on the wrong one? Yes, I am on the wrong one. Here we go. So the Google One service is really just about getting more data, and that data works across things like Google Drive. It gives you more space for Google Photos storage. What else are we talking about? You get extra perks. Every so often, they'll throw something else at us for it. You do get direct access to Google support for certain things. So unfortunately, no, you're not going to get that person that everybody's trying to reach at YouTube. But if you do have questions about storage, online security, general Google products and services, you can actually talk to a human being if you are using the Google One plan. And they have a wide variety of them. The VPN kicks in at the 2 terabyte level. And that may sound like a lot to you, but I promise you, once you start saving things out there, you might find that you get there sooner than later. And of course, if you go yearly instead of monthly, you save 17%. So there's all that. And if you have any questions, the link in the description, you've got access to all these things. They've got more information on the plans. They even have higher plans than the 2 terabyte. Ask me how I know. You can get more information about that stuff and about the benefits, right? So they do get into more detail here. So, for example, the special Google photo editing tools are available to those of us who have this service now. I know it's rolling out to other people now, but it is one of the perks that we got was we had access to that earlier. We get discounts in the Google store. So all that kind of stuff. And if you have questions, they've got a really good FAQ, right? So what's the difference between Google One and Google Drive? So I will read this to you. You can go ahead if you're curious and check it all out yourself. But they did a really nice job of anticipating questions and putting the answers here. So let's talk about the one we're here to talk about, which is the VPN that you get automatically with Google One. Now, you cannot at this time buy the Google One VPN directly. You're only getting it as a benefit of Google One. That said, if you've got it, it works across all the stuff. So you can use this on your devices, right? So your phone, your Chromebook, your tablet, your desktop computers, all of the things that connect, well, okay, not the smart devices, not these kind of smart devices, but most of the devices that you can connect to the internet do have protection with the VPN if you decide to go that way. And the way that happens is that you can actually download to your desktop an application. There's an app that you can put on your phone, and then you literally can toggle it on and off whenever you want. If you want it on all the time, that's no problem. If you only want to put it on when you're out and about and then turn it off the rest of the time, that's fine too. Because there is, just as a factor of the reality of going from where you are to another server to the internet, there is a slight lag. For most of us, we would never notice it. But for example, I don't use it when I'm streaming, right? Because I want to do everything I can to reduce the latency between when I send the signal out and when you see it when we're live. So there are times that you might want to turn it off. So just be aware that it is really simple to turn it on and off. Let's go back here. We can probably get a little more room here. All right. So this, gives you that extra information. So you do get extra protection, because it's not you it's not your device that they're seeing. If they're looking around, it is the device, the server that you're actually going through. It's that information that they're seeing. We will talk about this too. There are people who have issues with Google as far as it comes to security, and those concerns are not necessarily unwanted. Or unwarranted. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use this either. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. It is pretty fast. So I've done speed tests using the Google VPN and not using it. And I will say that the difference in my speeds is quite negligible. It's a very small amount. So your mileage may vary on that. It's going to depend on your internet connection, but you can go ahead and check it. The other thing about it is you can share access. So, and this is a part of Google One, right? So if you get extra space, you can share the space with up to 5 people. So that means 6 people could be sharing the same Google One storage account. Same goes for the VPN. If you've got people who are on your Google One account, they also can make use of the VPN. So that's nice, that you can share the wealth there. And then it gets into a little bit more about how this all works. So you can go ahead and check all that out. Here we are again. Hello. All right, so let's talk about the pros and cons here, specifically about the Google VPN, right? We've been talking sort of a mixed bag about VPNs in general and the Google VPN. So one of the cons for the Google VPN is the fact that it's a pro and a con. It's very, very simple, right? When you install this, when you sign up for it, it is super simple. There's literally a button, a single button, and I should have brought this up. Okay, of course that's going to work. Actually, you know what? I can show you this way. One moment. There we go. So you see here on this screen, this is the actual app, right? And this button here, this toggle, that's how you turn it on and off. This is it. This is all the stuff. There's a view settings, but let me tell you, there's not a lot going on in the view settings. Actually, I think I have that screen too. Give me 1 sec and I can bring that up for you. Let's do it this way. Just going to make it bigger so you can see it. When I tell you that this is simple, they're not kidding. Okay, so actually I can get that out of the way because I blurred it anyway. So this is the other screen. So when you go into settings in that first window there that I showed you, the settings there's one setting really, launch app after computer starts. So this is just telling the tool that yes, you want it to start automatically every single time you start your computer or your device. Other than that, I put these in the wrong place. I knew they were here someplace. Other than that, this is really the one you use most of the time because this will turn it on and off on the fly. That's it. This could not be any simpler. That said, because it's so simple, you can choose the server you're going through. Most of the time, it's just going to pick a server that's near you. Going to sneeze, not going to sneeze, can't really tell. So that is where this is not as fully functional as a lot of the other VPNs that you pay for. Whether that's good or bad depends on your use case and what your needs are. If you don't care about needing to say, I'm coming through this server in this country, then it doesn't matter, right? And the simplicity is sort of a bonus. If you do, then this is not the right solution for you because they don't have it, and I have not heard anything that indicates that they're ever going to be adding that. The other con is that this is not available in all countries, even if you can get the higher levels of Google One and or Pixel devices. And I'm sure there's all kinds of reasons for that, but I don't know what they are. They might be in the FAQ. So the other thing is the people's general wariness, we'll go with that, about Google and privacy and all that. And again, Google has made some colossal bonehead mistakes when it comes to that. Absolutely. They weren't mistakes. They were hoping nobody would notice. We all know that. But they got caught, and so things have changed a little bit. So I'm just going to read, and all of this is on the website, but I'm just going to read word for word what they say about it. So this is right from Google. Google will never use your VPN connection to track, collect, or sell your online activity. The only info that's logged and tied to you is your level of usage. The usage is categorized as low, medium, or high. Some aggregate or de-identified logging is also performed to ensure the quality of service. So that's your normal disclaimer from legal department, but it is acknowledging the fact that there are people who are concerned about Google and using them and their security approaches. So again, this is going to be a judgment call for you. I am basically all in on Google, right? I have a Google device. I'm using a Google email address, so I know Google knows things about me. But here's the other side of that story. Whatever service you're using, right, you're going to have to create an account with, and they're going to know where you're connecting from. So this information that people worry about is already out there. I'm not saying it's awesome. Sorry. But I'm just saying that you're not sharing it with other places, if that makes any sense. I hope that does. And so really it's just about keeping an eye on things, keeping an eye on the news, and knowing that there is no such thing as 100% security anywhere. There is a certain amount of being exposed if you're going to be on the internet. I know some people are more comfortable with that than others, but I just want to be upfront about it. The pros for this particular option is that it is super simple. It is as simple as you're ever going to see for a VPN in this day and time. Free. Technically, it's free because what you're paying for with Google One is the storage space, or with your phone, you're paying for the phone. So this technically, and is a bonus because you're not paying anything extra for it, at least not at this time. And you do get other bonuses with the Google One thing, like I mentioned earlier. So there is that. You can also choose on the mobile side of things, right? So if you're using this on your mobile devices and you run into an application that just has a problem with the fact that the VPN is running, you can go into the settings on the mobile device and say, let this one, skip past the VPN and connect normally. So you don't have to worry about having to constantly go in and out if you have certain apps on your mobile devices that won't work with it. And as I mentioned earlier, this is agnostic, so it is available for Android, iOS, Windows, and Mac. So you are all good on that. One second, let me just... Okay, you didn't need to see that. So that is what I have for you. If you have any questions, if you're curious about it, but you need more information, please feel free to jump into the comments or, reach out on the website. I'm always happy to answer questions, whatever way you prefer. But if you are looking for a super, super simple, straightforward VPN option that offers you some protection when you're out on public internet connections, and you have a Pixel device or are using or thinking about using the Google One option, why not? If nothing else, just to give it a try. And then if you find that it's not enough for you, you want more options with it, you can just turn it off because at least it's not costing you anything extra, and go and look at other VPN options. But at least that way you've kind of tested the waters for free and checked out to see whether or not it is something that works well for you. All right. All right, everybody. So it sounds like the sound was okay. So we're getting there. We're getting better. I think the setup is almost there. I just have to figure out, it looks like the automation didn't trigger for my mic, but we'll work all that out. And I thank you all for your patience and your help through the past few weeks. It's been a little bumpy, but we tried to soldier through. I hope everybody has a week has been going well, and you're going to have a great weekend, and I will see you again next Thursday. Have a good one. Bye. Let's see if this part runs.